Hello, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to maximize your ranged XP rates per hour in the Nightmare Zone without using Void or Protection Prayers. To do this you are going to be relying on Absorption Potions. So I got a lot of comments in a previous video saying that I was wasting a lot of money by using Prayer Potions for Protect from Melee in the Nightmare Zone. And I agree, people are right about that. The reason I was doing it is because I was too lazy to pay enough attention to re-overload when my HP went back up. And by failing to do that, you take a ton of extra damage as a pure against your absorption potions, and you'll go through them extremely fast. So I wanted to see how much experience I could gain in exactly 1 hour. That's why I've got the 3 overload potions down there at the bottom. My trip ends when I run out of overloads, and that'll be exactly 1 hour. I also do have prayer potions, even though I'm using absorptions for damage. I actually did bring prayer potions because I'm going to be using Hawkeye the entire time. That is the middle prayer, the 10% prayer. I think it's great to show in this video because there are a lot of 26 prayer range pures out there. And also I like Hawkeye better than Eagle Eye for the purposes of this because you still get that 10% boost and it doesn't drain your prayer nearly as quickly as Eagle Eye does. So when you first get into the Nightmare Zone, you'll have 30 seconds before the monsters start appearing, and you need to take advantage of that time. First, you need to use the Dwarven Rock Cake to reduce your HP down to 51. It's important that you get it to exactly 51, because then when you take a sip of your overload, it will drop you all the way down to 1, which is where you want to stay the entire time, if possible. In order to do that, your HP will naturally regenerate, so what you're going to need to do is flick the Rapid Restore prayer once every minute, and what that does is reset the timer. There's a stat restore timer for all skills, and what you're basically doing is just interrupting that. So as long as you do it once every minute, your HP will never regenerate and it will stay at 1, with the exception of when your overload runs out, it will go up to 51, and then you need to quickly take a sip of overload to go back down to 1. So what I'm doing here is taking advantage of one of the power-ups. Power Surge is my personal favorite. Gives you unlimited special attack for about a minute. And you got to be careful because you can't use the Blowpipe special attack while you're using absorption potions, because that would restore your health and thus defeating the purpose of using the absorption potion. So I bring a Magic Shortbow Eye to use the special attack. I personally think it's worth it. It only takes up the 1 spot in your inventory, and the arrows are very cheap, so it's not really adding much to the cost, and you can actually get some pretty good hits with it. One other piece of advice is that since you're using absorption potions, and by keeping your HP at 1, you limit the amount of reduction from your absorption counter to 1 per hit. You can take advantage of this by only keeping 1 enemy on you at a time. Here's a good example of that here. I'm basically hiding behind the Black Demon because he's a larger monster, and I'm hitting the ones behind him. Now, you don't have to have a multi-square monster to hide behind. If you can run around and get all the monsters to line up against you, that will work as well. Okay, so my 1 hour is just about up, and I'm going to go ahead and check and see how I did. So I got 368k Nightmare Zone points in 1 hour, which I actually think is pretty good considering the trade-in value on them, assuming you're buying herb boxes, about 1.4 GP per Nightmare Zone point, and I spent 372k worth of supplies in that 1 hour and gained 110k experience, which I think is actually really good for no void. Lastly, I just wanted to show the setup I would use if I were trying to make my trip last longer than an hour. I do believe you could do it with this many absorption potions. Just note that if you are a lower prayer level than 52, you might need more prayer potions because each dose will not restore as many points as it does for me with 52 prayer. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and go do some Nightmare Zone, get some XP.